a gain of rupees 1000. If it can be sold for 1, a loss of rupees 1000. But this 1000 calculation is dependent on the depreciation you have charged. You estimated that by now it would have been depreciated by 8. If you change the depreciation, the value will change. Therefore, this loss or gain is notional. Adjustment has to be done with respect to notional loss or notional gain. But when money is coming in, naturally it will be an inflow. No doubt about that. So why? It is a non-cash expense. It is not a non-cash expense. It is a non-cash. It is a notional loss or it is a notional gain. Non-cash expenses are those which do not result in any outflow of money. One of the very common examples is depreciation. When you charge depreciation, you write in the expense side, but money does not go out. It is a non-cash. It is an expense, but non-cash expense. When you write off anything, say goodwill, or any other thing that you write in the balance sheet, write off, amortize, which we call, then again nothing goes out. You only write in the profit and loss account. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir. Alhamdulillah.
Okay. If still there is any doubt, I can once again explain later. Now we were about to close our discussion on fund flow statement. So once you have made a statement, your statement would look like this. Just that you will have one side application, one side sources. Anything can be written on any side. There is no hard and fast rule that application will be written on left hand side or funds will be written or sources on the right hand side. But the thing is that both of them should be equal. Last thing that is to be discussed now, I'll leave this slide for a minute in case you wish to ask anything on this slide. I hope you would have made your own fund flow statement and it must match with the one that I have worked out. If you have made, do your figures also match with the same, or there is some difference and you need some clarification somewhere? Any question here? All right, you will be able to ask question only if you have prepared yours. If you have prepared yours with the figures given, it should look like this.
Sure.
Anything you want to know about the slide which is appearing on your screen now?
Sir,
Yes.
sir, I wanted to know whether there is any particular format that we have to follow. Like, for example, in trading account, we'll always write to opening
No,
stock
no, not
first.
at all, not at all. Anything can be written anywhere in any order.
Okay, sir.
Increase in working capital can be first, can be last. Purchase of building can be first or can be last. So long as you write, see, what is the purpose of this statement? The purpose of this statement is to simplify the accounts. You recall when we started the fund flow statement, what were the reasons for starting fund flow statement? Can somebody recall? Why? Good. Okay, good. And anything else? Fine, your answer is correct. Other than this, also there were a few more purposes.
Sell to look from where money are coming and
Okay,
where
good.
is
बिल्कुल ठीक है. और बताइए. See, everything has a purpose. See, who will be using fund flow statement? Who will be users of this information? Those who want to assess the financial health of a company for various reasons. For investing, for joining the company as an employee, several people will have several purpose and they will require the analysis of financial statement. Not everyone may be financially or accounting wise competent. Not everyone would have attended a course in accounting. Not everyone would have. So, but the statements which are prepared are technical in nature. Law requires it has to be prepared in this format. But that format is technical. For the decision making, people you need either they take help from somebody, or in order to analyze themselves, they need to have some knowledge. So fund flow statement, if it is prepared, it simplifies the accounting information. it conveys the real financial health of a company based on which users will take some decisions. So technical data, which is a necessity, is represented once again in simpler form. One. Secondly, in addition to what all you have said, further, the accounts show you financial health of a company as on a particular date. On that date, company is healthy or not, isn't it? Fund flow statement tells you the financial health of a company over one accounting period. If you recall, what do we write there on a financial statement, profit loss account of so and so company as on 31st December? So don't you think if company is profitable or if company is financially healthy on 31st December, it would have been healthy in the preceding 12 months also? May or may not be true. In order to find out whether it was healthy earlier also, it was healthy in the preceding year or not, you prepare fund flow statement. For example, in the during the year, company might have entered into several transactions which may not be reflected as on a last date. As on last date, it will show the end result. But the transactions that took place in the entire financial year might have adversely affected the financial health of a company, but may not be known to us because we are only looking at the data on 31st December. Like this, there are several reasons because which we prepare fund flow statement. Why did I once again I have gone into the background is because the question that this Mahak asked, in which order? So what do we need to know? What were various sources from which we got money and what were various head on which we have spent money. So the quality of sources and quality of spending again tells you about the financial health of a company. For example, look at this company. In all, how much it is receiving from various sources? It has received 75,000 rupees. It could be 75,000, 75 lakh, 75 crore. Total, it has received 75 lakh or 75,000, of which 8,000 it received by way of sale of furniture, 25 by way of issue of shares, 10 by way of issue this, 32 from business operation, and 75 on 75 is the total. Suppose this figure is changed, that this 75, theoretically assume here 0, everywhere 0, just here you write bank loan. It is receiving 75, let us say bank loan. And that 75 bank loan, it is spending 15,000 is blocked in working capital. It purchased machinery, it purchased building, it redeemed loan, debentures or something like that. Though, then it is not a good health. You are, you are in a position to use money only by borrowing. But if it is a combination of several things, suppose issue of shares, which company will be in a position to issue shares? One which has good image in the market. Only then it will be able to issue shares. Can any loss-making company bring an IPO? Nobody, yes, undersubscribed, nobody will buy, you are right. Suppose ये किंगफिशर जो है कल को एक IPO लेकर के आते हैं, will somebody buy?
No, sir.
या मोदी को लेकर के आते हैं, somebody will buy? Not these extreme examples. Even if a company which has not been into business for which has been into losses for several years, if it comes up with an IPO, nobody will be willing to buy. So the quality of resources and quality of application is important to understand. I have just given you one example. There are several examples which can be given, and based on that we can decide about the financial health of a company. So that was the basic objective. So from what all sources has the company received money, and on what various heads has it spent money. Let me give you one more example before I close or before I take up. Suppose here company says issue of preference shares 10,000, redemption of debentures 15,000. Let us say these figures are same, 10,000 here, 10,000 here. So it is not a good sign. Why is it so? Because On one hand, company is clearing a liability, long-term liability company is reducing, and on the other hand, it is once again incurring a long-term liability. So that means you had to pay to somebody. You owed something to somebody, you had to pay. So what you did, you borrowed money from someone and paid to someone. You had to pay, let us say, to X. So in order to pay to X, you borrowed from Y and paid to X. Now X is no more your creditor, but you owe money to Y. Your liability remains unchanged. Therefore, we should know what are the sources and what are the applications, and what is the quality of those sources and applications. What are, are they good for the health of a company or they are not? So such transactions are not reflected in the balance sheet as on date. Balance sheet will only tell you that company had this much of liability last year. It also had this much of liability this year. But during the year, it changed the liability, borrowed, paid to X and borrowed from Y. So it is not a good thing to do because liability remains the same. So there are several transactions which take place during the year. Which shows about the financial well-being of a company, which will be known to the people only once a fund flow statement is prepared. Again, if you saw the profit in the balance sheet, it was just 10,000 or 5,000, but in reality the profit was 32,000. A decision taken on 10,000 profit or decision taken on 32,000 profit will drastically differ. Therefore, the position of a company as on date is important, but the financial health during that year is also important, for which you prepare fund flow statement. Is this fine? If there are questions,
Yes, sir.
If there are questions, you can ask. If not, I'll complete discussion on fund flow statement and we will move on.
So what is the difference between fund flow statement and cash flow statements?
Okay. When you prepare a cash flow statement, fine. Let me clarify here itself. It's good that you asked. Good that you asked. All items on both sides of fund flow statement are same in cash flow statement only, except this item, that is change in net working capital. It is treated differently. How is it treated? I'll explain to you. First thing is, when you prepare a cash flow statement, all items, all sources, all applications are same, but change in net working capital is calculated differently. Okay, what is the difference? How do you calculate? You don't calculate overall change in net working capital. What is this 15,000 change showing? Difference between current assets and current liabilities of previous year, difference between current assets and current liabilities of current year, and again difference between these two. This is the result of, this is how you have arrived at 15,000. Okay. Now let me also take you there. This is how you have arrived at this 15,000. Okay. Now to prepare a cash flow statement, this process will not be followed. What shall we do? We will pick up individual component of net working capital. What will be the individual component of net working capital? Several current assets and several current liabilities. You are right. Look at this data. Let us say stock. It is a component of current assets. 25. And
Yes, sir.
what is the conclusion? 15,000 difference is source or application?
Sir, so application. So source. So it is source.
और कोई बताए? सोर्स है तो क्यों है, एप्लीकेशन है तो क्यों है?
सर क्योंकि सोर्स इसलिए क्योंकि इसमें स्टॉक जो है हमने बेचा तो मनी आ रहा है हमारे पास.
Because of this, it is a source. Stock was 25, now it is 10, so we have received 15,000 only because we would have sold. Okay. How about debtors were 15, now 35. Source or application?
Application, because
I get because
Money is
because
involved.
The money is
money
going and it is increasing from 15 to 35.
money is going on.
money is not, see, when you done with debtors, does money go out? Money
It
is
is
blocked.
blocked, sir.
इसका मतलब ये हुआ मनी आपकी ब्लॉक हो गई ना, तो ब्लॉक हो गई तो इसका मतलब क्या हुआ कि आपका ये एप्लीकेशन हो गया, राइट? नाउ कम टू वन एग्जांपल ऑफ लायबिलिटी साइड आल्सो. क्रेडिटर्स वेर 10, नाउ 15. सोर्स और एप्लीकेशन?
Sir, application.
क्यों
Source.
एप्लीकेशन?
तो सोर्स है.
सोर्स है इसलिए कि
source
आपने
है.
उधार बढ़ा लिया अपना, तो जब भी
Yes,
तो
sir.
बढ़ेगा जब आप, तो ये सोर्स जैसे डेटर्स का है तो बिल्कुल अपोजिट हुआ ना. हियर योर मनी इज ब्लॉक्ड एंड हियर यू आर ब्लॉकिंग अदर्स मनी, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
It is a source. How about bank overdraft? Source or application?
सर
Application. I think it is.
सर सोर्स है. सर सोर्स
Application.
हुआ है.
Application.
Application, because yes, you
Yes,
owed
sir.
you owed bank 15,000. Now you owe 10,000. That means 5,000 you have paid.
Yes, sir.
So this 5,000 is your application.
Application, sir.
That means individual items of current assets, individual components of current liabilities, each one will either be a source or application. Agreed?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is how you will calculate. Now, all the sources and application of each component of working capital will be equal to difference between two balances of cash. It will be equal to how much? If you take,
Can-
see, it will
can
be
you
a
recall
source,
the
it will be, some will be source, some will be application, some will be source, some will be application. If you total all sources and you total all applications, दोनों में फर्क होगा. कितना फर्क होगा? Equal to your difference
जी.
between cash balance. You got it, or you need more clarification?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Got it.
Why it will happen? Now you recall ledger. You recall ledger of cash account. What do you do in cash account ledger? Sources from which you receive cash, you write in debit side. Heads on which you spend cash, you write on credit side. Ultimately, difference between the two is what? Your balance. So this is how fund cash flow can be prepared. That is, do not calculate changes in net working capital. Do not calculate, just 1 second. Do not calculate changes in net working capital, but individual.
So what change will it bring? It will only bring the change like the sum of sources or application will be different from fund flow statement.
Just individual will be different.
So this is in case of cash flow statement, right?
Yes. Okay, any other question? Anything else that you wish to know?
Sir, I would like to ask about the provision for taxes and other provisions.
Sure.
How we
sure.
can treat.
Okay, provision for taxation. Just take one example, provision for a taxation. Let me just write here for the time being, provision for taxes. Okay, what figure should I write? Let us say here 25,000, and we write here 15,000. I will change this figure also if you wish at a later sometimes. Now, what does this 25,000 mean? See, to simplify it, one can consider it as a current liability and calculate changes in net working capital. But the purpose of cash flow or fund flow will not be served. The purpose is to know where is money coming from and on what heads it is being spent on. Therefore, these have to be treated differently. Provision for taxes. Suppose this all you are doing on 31st December. Previous year, it was on 31st December. On 31st December, previous year, let us say 19, and current year is 20. On 31st December 2019, you made a provision of rupees 25,000 for taxes. What does it mean in ordinary language? That you estimated tax liability of rupees 25,000. Am I right? What will happen to this money after 10 days, 20 days, 1 month, 2 months? What will happen?
We
We
have
will
paid.
pay it over with time.
You will pay it to the income tax authorities, isn't it? Under the assumption, if no further information is available, the only inference that you can draw that this amount would have been paid to the income tax authorities. So what would it have been? Source or application?
Application.
Application.
Straight away it becomes your application. If this particular part is agreed upon, if you all are convinced that this 25,000 rupees, in the absence of any further information, will be your application, then come to the next amount, 15,000. What is this provision of 15,000 rupees as on 31st December?
Liability.
आपने इसको प्रॉफिट लॉस अकाउंट में लिखा, सिर्फ प्रोविजन किया, बट मनी हैज नॉट गॉन आउट.
Yes, sir. सर कोई कैश इन्वॉल्व नहीं होगा इसमें, आउटफ्लो नहीं होगा कुछ.
No cash involved, therefore it will be added back to the funds from operation.
Yes.
Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Same thing. Just 1 second. Same thing will be applicable to, if we say, proposed dividend.
Dividend, yes, sir.
Proposed dividend. Same thing will be applicable in this case also. Suppose you proposed 25,000 rupees worth of dividend. So what would have been done? After 10, 20, 30 days after AGM took place, this dividend would have been paid to shareholders. Once paid, it becomes an application. And again, by the same token, you made a provision, you proposed that you will pay. When will it be paid? It will be paid after 1st January 21. So till such time it is paid, you have only shown it as an expense, but expense did not take place. Money, balance of cash did not reduce. Therefore, it will be added back to the profit, to the real profit of it. Is this clear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other? Just 1 second. Let me bring it to the original position. Okay. Any other question? Okay. All right. If no further question from anyone, I'll proceed. This topic is entirely new one. It is related to cost. Earlier on, what we did, financial accounting, how to record business transaction. Second step, how to analyze the financial statements. Third step, little bit on costing part, because to earn or to stick to the good profitability, either you sell more or you cut down on your cost without compromising on quality, or a combination of both will lead to better profitability. So we have concentrated so far on profitability with respect to financial part only. This part will be talking about the costing, how to minimize or how to reduce or how to control the cost, without compromising quality. Because this is where, if your expenses are reduced, then profitability will increase. All right. With this intention, in a few more days, we will talk about costing. Now I have given you a data. There are two firms A and B, and the data is in front of you. Which is doing well?
Firm A, sir.
A is
Firm
doing
A,
well.
sir.
Okay. Suppose next thing I have written. Suppose industry average is 10%. This firm belongs to a particular industry, and in that industry, average profitability is somewhere around 9 and 10%. Somebody is making 10%, somebody is making 11%, somebody is making 9%. That being the case, is firm A in comfortable position or it is not?
Yes,
दोबारा
sir.
जोर से बोलिए, समझ में नहीं आया. इंडस्ट्री एवरेज कंफर्टेबल, ठीक, बिल्कुल सही आपका। एज ऑफ नाउ ये देखने के बाद आपका असेसमेंट ठीक है कि जो कि इंडस्ट्री में 10% के करीब प्रॉफिट है और हम भी अगर 10%, 9%, 11% के करीब हैं तो वी आर इन ए कंफर्टेबल पोजीशन। ऑल राइट, नाउ लुक एट दी नेक्स्ट स्लाइड। इसी कंपनी का सपोज आप मान लीजिए कि दिस 10,000 और 10,000 लाख, 10,000 करोड़, ये सब जो है इसकी, आप इसको एक एग्जाम्पल मान लीजिए ऑटोमोबाइल इंडस्ट्री में, कि सपोज ये मारुति उद्योग लिमिटेड की हम बात कर रहे हैं, या आप किसी भी ऑटोमोबाइल के ले लीजिए, उसकी कंसल्टिंग के ले लीजिए, हॉस्पिटल के ले लीजिए, किसी की ले लीजिए, टोटल सेल्स जो है, सपोज ये एक हॉस्पिटल की सेल्स है 10,000 और उस हॉस्पिटल में सपोज 3 डिपार्टमेंट हैं, उस हॉस्पिटल में 3 फर्दर डिपार्टमेंट हैं और 3 डिपार्टमेंट का डेटा ये है। डिपार्टमेंट ए की सेल्स 5,000 है, डिपार्टमेंट बी की सेल 3,000 है और डिपार्टमेंट सी की सेल 2,000 है, तो टोटल सेल्स अगेन 10,000। यहां तक बात क्लियर है?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Suppose the department A is spending 3,000 rupees. डिपार्टमेंट ए में टीचर्स भी होंगे, डॉक्टर्स भी होंगे, मेडिसिन भी होंगी, किराया भी होगा, बिजली का बिल भी होगा, तो डिपार्टमेंट ए के ऊपर खर्च हो रहा है 3,000, बी पर भी 3,000 खर्च हो रहा है, सी पर भी 3,000 खर्च हो रहा है। टोटल कॉस्ट इज 9,000। वंस अगेन 9,000।
यस सर।
जब प्रॉफिट 1,000 है तो कॉस्ट 9,000 होगी कि नहीं होगी? ओके, नाउ व्हाट इज द प्रॉफिट ऑफ ईच डिपार्टमेंट? Department A is making a profit of 2,000, Department B is neither making a profit nor loss, and Department C is suffering a loss of rupees 1,000. Ultimately, what is the profit?
1,000.
1,000.
1,000.
1,000. Before you look at the next row or whatever is written below that, stay here up to these third row only. Can you now conclude that firm A, in spite of earning 10% of profit, which is almost of the industry average, is it in a comfortable position or not? Will you change your decision or you will still stick to the same decision? It is still in a comfortable position.
Sir, not, sir.
Not.
No, sir. Not
No.
in a comfortable position.
ये आप no, okay, just one second. You say that it is not in a comfortable position. How have you arrived at this decision?
Sir,
by-
department B is not doing well.
By calculating, okay, by calculating product-wise profitability or department-wise profitability or segment-wise profitability or region-wise there can be anything. If we take an example of our department and assuming that it is not financed by the government, our salaries and everything is paid by the government, 99% is paid by the government, and whatever fee you people pay does not cover even 1% of the total expenses that the university incurs. जिस बिल्डिंग में आपकी क्लासेस हो रही हैं, सपोज दिस बिल्डिंग इज टेकन ऑन रेंट, तो कितना किराया होगा इसका? अलीगढ़ में जिस बिल्डिंग में आप लोग, आपने डिपार्टमेंट की बिल्डिंग तो देखी होगी ना, इंटरव्यू में आए होंगे आप लोग।
Yes, sir.
कितना किराया होगा इसका अलीगढ़ में?
10 lakh.
Yes, 10 lakh.
सर 20-30 लाख।
अच्छा, और इसका बिजली का बिल?
सर अराउंड
ठीक, ये मान के चलिए
25,000।
कितना?
25,000।
नहीं, इट्स नॉट इन थाउजेंड, इट इज इन लैक्स। पूरी बिल्डिंग पे जब एसी चलता है तो समझते हैं 20,000 में काम हो जाएगा। एनीवे, एंड नाउ कम टू द रेवेन्यू दैट सी, तो नाउ come to the revenue part of the building. That's your revenue part of your course. So there are people from PhD, there are people from MBA, health administration, Islamic banking, and international business. If the department calculates course-wise profitability, so number one, it will calculate total revenue it receives from the students, then total cost it incurs. It may be saving some money or it may be overspending, assuming that it is a 100% commercial venture. Then maybe on an overall basis it is making some money, but then it calculates course wise profitability. it is possible that some courses may not be running into profitability. Revenue received or fee realized from the student may be lesser than the money department might be spending on payment of salaries to the teacher, rent of the building, electricity expenses. There are several other expenses also. Therefore, the profitability of any organization is weighted average of the profit it generates. How do you calculate the weighted average? Unless you know what is the revenue from each source and what is the cost that you are spending on each head or on each product. Therefore, now you have changed your decision, and rightly so, that the company is not in comfortable situation. Good. Now let us move ahead. What do we do then if we think that the company is not in a profitable comfortable situation? What do you do?
So we'll try to cut down the cost on certain items.
We will try to cut down the cost on certain items. Okay, fine. Okay, one is we'll try to cut down cost on certain items. Okay, anything else?
So we try to reduce expenses.
We'll try to reduce the expenses. It's one of the same thing that you try to cut down on certain points, or we'll try to reduce the expenses. Okay, anything else?
Try to increase sales.
Try to increase sales. All that you have said once again was of generic in nature, not specific to the slide which appears on your screen. Can I expect some specific questions some specific statements based on the slide that you see on the screen?
So we can close department C, which is making
good.
loss.
So this is a concrete, statement. May not be true. Not necessarily that everybody will agree that you close department C or you drop product C. If it is an automobile industry, within automobile, it is Maruti Udyog Limited. It has got various variants. कितने वेरिएंट है मारुति में? 4, 6, 10, 12 कितने हैं? जैसे स्विफ्ट डिजायर एक है, ऑल्टो एक है, सियरा एक है, ऐसे करके कितने वेरिएंट?
अपना सुप्रीम वाला लग्जरीज पर नेक्सा
आहिस्ता सुनो माइक को एडजस्ट करो. इट्स नॉट nobody can listen properly. माइक थोड़ा रिड्यूस करो. हाँ, अब बताओ.
उन्होंने जो नेक्सा वो अलग
still either something wrong with me or something wrong with. Is everybody listening properly? Or it's not?
No, sir.
No, sir, she's not audible.
No, sir.
No, sir.
The voice is breaking. There, adjust your mic maybe a bit further away from the mic or something. Go ahead now.
Sir, am I fine now?
Now it is okay. No need to see. So what I was asking you, that suppose it has got only 3 variants. Just for example, assume that one product is giving huge profit, one product is break even, and one product there is a loss. So one of the statements, concrete statement somebody made, let us close down the variant which is giving us losses. Do you all agree that you should close down?
So, but suddenly closing a department, so is it practical in real life? Like, can it be
any other
applicable?
reason? Okay. So you say that suddenly closing a department is not an option. Okay. Then
So we can also try to increase the sales of department C.
we can also try to increase the sales of department C. Correct. Then
So we can analyze what is the reason why it is failed,
good.
and then
We can analyze what is the reason for. Okay. Next.
Sir, we can also reallocate the resources from department C to the most profit-making department.
So that means your recommendation is to close C. When you are allocating resources being spent on department C on department B or A, so that means the department will be closed. Or something else you wish to say?
So
Yes,
we can
sir, yes,
also
sir.
look into the total cost. The total cost incurred of department C might not be required
Okay.
as much as we are incurring now.
Okay.
We can
So
cut down the
we can
cost.
cut down on. Good. Anything else?
Also, the Department A's profit percentage is way above the average across
Okay.
average industry profit. So
Hmm.
a few of the resources that we are employing for Department A can be transferred to Department C in
Okay.
order to
Fine.
increase
Fine. Good
profit.
enough. Okay. Fine. Anything else?
So we may look the profits of we may look the condition of previous year of this department, and if the department is successively incurring loss, then we may close it. And if
Good.
it
Good enough.
happened for the first time,
Okay.
then we may look
Okay.
at the
Okay. Fine. What all of you have said individually and collectively is good. Anything else? Now, you might have studied something in your economics course. See, this is what I have been telling, that you study several courses and a combination of it gives you, based on that knowledge of various courses, you take a decision.
So on the basis
Can you recall the concept of supplementary products and complementary products?
Yes, sir.
Suppose product C is supplementary. Can you discontinue?
No, sir, it cannot be
Okay.
discontinued.
If it is complementary,
So complementary products work of discontinuing.
okay. Suppose this data belongs to this Apple iPhone. This is your phone, this is your charger and adapter, and these are add-ons. These are add-ons. What will you do?
We can close C or reduce.
Suppose C is equal to B, the charger. Can you close?
No, sir.
No, sir. Not
Because,
at all.
okay. Similarly, take other examples. This state of the art photocopier, and you have a cartridge which is used in the photocopier. Can you stop the production of photocopy? This is a cartridge.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Because
No,
you cannot,
sir.
in the absence of that, your photocopier cannot be sold, isn't it?
Yes,
Think
sir.
of several possibilities of any company, be it a service firm, be it a medicine profession, be it a bank, be it every firm, either manufacturing, producing, or service industry, or consulting, any has got various components from which it realizes revenue. If it is a consulting firm, it has software development business, it has marketing consulting, it has financial consulting, it has this consulting, that consulting. If it is a medicine profession, there may be 2, 3, 4, 5 doctors. One is specializing in orthopedic, one is specializing in general medicine, one is specializing in heart, etc. And each division may be giving some profit or loss. And before we take a financial decision, cost-wise data, one has to look at these aspects also, which we have just discussed so far. If running of a hospital is dependent on availability of doctors from all disciplines, even if one discipline is running into losses, and if discipline is taken away, there's a possibility the number of turnouts will be reduced. So you will continue running a loss-making business also, and vice versa. Okay, the point that I'm trying to draw your attention on is that why are you able to take all such decisions and able to discuss all such things? Only because you have collected cost data. Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
But
sir.
that data only
Yes, sir.
I have taken, just 1 second. That data only I have taken up to, this is only stage 1 of analysis, or you can call it as a stage 2. This is stage 1. This you call as a stage 2. I can take it perhaps up to 5 stages, but I'll stop at 2, 3 stages only, so that the rest you can build. Let me, before I come to third stage of analysis, let us remain up to second stage and ask you if there are any issues that you need to discuss further. I'll stay on here, or I'll move on to the next slide.
Sir, with the example that you gave, that perhaps A could be the iPhone and B and C could be its add-ons or the chargers and adapters, then perhaps the only thing that's left for us to do is just to boost sales of product A, so that it can cover the costs of product B and C as well.
How many of you agree with what Mehak is saying? in your lifetime.
Yes, sir. I agree.
You all agree?
So I think,
Ah,
so I think she is right because in a way, it would, if we look at the overall average profit, then that would be substantial. So
okay.
the loss that we are making from B and C department would be eventually covered by the profit made by A.
Okay. These decisions in real life are taken based on realities of life, on so many factors. But ultimately, see, decision may be to drop C and maybe not to drop, but continue with C forever. Forever. Because at times you are able to, attract the clients only because of product C by selling that at a loss. Real life is entirely different. What happens there, it cannot be visualized. What all I'm saying is that these are the possibilities. You do this and this, and you will be in a position to take some decision. That's it. There have been cases wherein people have been, continuously running a loss-making business. Part of it because it gives you some benefit in your other compartments. There are at times social compulsions. If the department is considered as a commercial entity and it has to carry on a particular course, even if it is loss making, it will continue. An example in the department's concern is that we offer PhD. So PhD is offered in a regular mode, and it is also offered in distance mode through IMA. For IMA, it is totally a loss making venture. It doesn't generate any revenue, rather it suffers losses year after year for the past 20 years. But because of this PhD, its image has gone very high. People think that this is an organization which can offer even PhD also, and before they join PhD, they complete postgraduate diploma. So it makes enough of money from postgraduate diploma from several students who apply, and from PhD, it suffers losses. And this has been happening since 1997. So there are compulsions, there are situations, there are conditions based on which several things happen, and we are in a position to take a decision. Shall we move on now?
Yes, sir.
So sir, we can conclude कि इसमें हम लोग जो है इसके factors भी देखेंगे, whether like
Yes,
it is
yes.
important or not. इसके basis पे हम लोग
See,
decide करेंगे कि हम लोग
I tell you,
close करना है या नहीं करना.
The kind of observation that you can write here are unlimited. For example, none of you perhaps could said, or maybe I have not heard, I have missed that we will see if why cannot we reduce total cost of C. See, what is this 9,000 total cost you have incurred, and what is this 3,000 each? You have divided
Individual cost, yes, sir.
You have apportioned them into 3 products or 3 departments. Suppose, assume that your apportionment is wrong. It should not have been 333. It should have been 3, 2.5, and 2.5 or something of that sort. Then these figures will certainly change. So if your calculation at this stage is wrong, see, out of 5 courses, if we wish to calculate the total cost, what do? There are 2 categories of cost. One is direct, one is direct, one is indirect. So in the department context, what will be the direct cost? That is revenue. जो बच्चे आते हैं, that is revenue. The cost will be teacher salary, isn't it? Salaries. If there are specific teachers teaching specific courses, so salaries will be your direct example. But electricity bill, rent of building, other maintenance, these are all indirect. So those indirect are to be proportionately divided among 1, 2, 3, or between 2 or among several. So if the division, if this ratio and proportion has wrongly been calculated, then the entire calculations will be wrong, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Therefore, the number of observations that you can make, number of the relevant observations that you can make are endless. So many. Now, what is written in the second and third line? This you forget. This you don't do. Write any 3 comments in the chat box. Leave it now. We have already spent enough of time. Then also note these comments in the file that you are maintaining for a weekly report. All the comments that we discussed in this class, recall them and make a note in your file that you are maintaining. I hope your file is up to date now.
Yes, sir.
Or has everybody updated it up to 8th of March?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Even if there is one who has not been able to update it as of 8th of
Then
March.
not 8th of March, 7th of
Sir,
March.
7th of
7th
March.
of March.
7th of March.
We had a class on 7th.
हाँ, आपको
Next day was a holiday.
हाँ, तो 7 तक सबका तैयार है.
Sir, I'm in the process.
अच्छा तुम्हारा
So,
तो
I am also it's still ongoing. मतलब अभी चल रही है थोड़ी
6 तक तैयार है.
So it's in the process. Like we have mentioned.
The 5th, yes, sir.
5 तक तो सभी का तैयार है.
Up to 5th.
तो 5th से तुम लौट के फिर 4 पे भी बहुत से पहुंच जाएंगे. शाबाश. किसी की 10 तक भी तैयार है कि नहीं?
सर 10th सेशन अभी नहीं हुआ ना.
नहीं, कभी हो सकता आप लोगों ने सोच लिया हो कि ये पढ़ाया जाएगा, लिख के रख लें पहले से ही. उर्दू से किसी ने किया है ग्रेजुएशन? यहाँ जो मौजूद हैं आप सब लोग 82, 86?
No sir, but we have in first year in Urdu.
Yes sir, first year में पढ़ी है.
बस वो तो आप सब लोगों ने जो फर्स्ट ईयर में पढ़ी होगी वो तो अलीफ बेते से पढ़ी होगी.
नहीं सर.
No sir, I have studied advanced Urdu.
अच्छा, चलिए जो मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ कि किसी ने 10 तारीख की वो रिपोर्ट तैयार कर ली होगी. इस पर गालिब का एक बहुत मशहूर शेर है, वो आप बता सकते हैं क्या है?
सामान 100 बरस का पल की खबर
नहीं. और कुछ सोचिए.
पूछते हैं कि वो गालिब कौन है, कोई बतलाए कि हम बतलाएं क्या?
इसमें ये कहाँ से आ गया कि एडवांस में लिख लिया होगा उन्होंने?
नहीं करे सो आज कर.
सर सवाल समझ में आ गया जी?
सर कासिद के आते आते खत.
हाँ बिल्कुल सही, बहुत सही. हाँ फिर कहो. कासिद के आते आते
खत एक और लिख रखूं, मैं जानता हूँ क्या जो वो लिखेंगे जवाब में.
आपको सब लोगों को समझ में आया? कासिद के आते आते खत एक और लिख रखूं. हाँ
तो जो वो लिखेंगे
मैं जानता हूँ वो क्या लिखेंगे जवाब में. वो गालिब ने अपने मैं जानता हूँ वो क्या लिखेंगे जवाब में, मतलब गालिब ने खत भेजा.
yes,
जवाब का इंतजार किए बगैर उन्होंने एक और खत लिख के रख लिया, इस एजम्पशन पर कि उन्हें पता है कि जवाब क्या होगा. वाह वाह. यही जो है, नहीं अगर उस गालिब के ज़माने में नोबेल प्राइज़ मिलता लिटरेचर में मिल रहा होता तो गालिब या इकबाल को ज़रूर मिल जाता. जिस लेवल का उन्होंने लिखा है उनके ज़माने में, चूँकि नोबेल प्राइज़ तो शुरू नहीं हुआ था लिटरेचर में क्या कहीं भी नहीं शुरू हुआ था. चलिए खैर. नाउ गिव मी a break of 5 minutes. Let me go and quickly have some bite. वक्त हो गया उसका, तो you may also take a break of 5 minutes and we will resume our discussion. ठीक है?
Sure sir.
Okay sir.
Okay sir.
All right, we are back now. All right. Now we move on to the next slide. If you don't have any further questions, shall I move on to the next slide? Okay. Now, this slide itself should have given you enough of reason, enough of idea. So why calculating cost of each product or each compartment or each service is necessary, because lots of decisions can be taken. Now, this was only lot of decision you were able to take, discussion you were able to have merely on the basis of second stage of analysis. If we go to the third stage of analysis, you look at this. Data remains the same. 10,000 is your sales. Total cost 9,000. Let me just highlight it. Total cost of 9,000 also remains same. Total revenue of 10,000 also remains same. What all we have added now? Okay, this 10,000 of sales comes from ABC, no change. But this 9,000 total cost, no change. But here we have added more data. The data which I have highlighted is in addition to what you saw on the previous slide. Look at this slide and now look at this slide. What change do you note? This data we have added in such a way that everything remains unchanged. Total cost will be 9,000. Why 9,000? 4,500 plus 2,000.
Yes, sir.
That is same.
3,400. Yes, sir.
So we have added 3 more data in each service or each compartment or each product or each course, whichever you call it. Let us just first talk about A. Sales revenue is 5,000. You are spending 3,000 on it, making 2,000 profit. How are you spending 3,000? 2,000 on raw material, 600 on labor, and 400 on overheads. Its equivalent would be that in the department, it is receiving 5,000 from fees, 2,000 it is paying on salaries of teacher, 600 on rent, electricity and other things, and 400 on some other things. Same thing can be applied to various other courses or various other products or various other services in a hospital or in a bank or in wherever, in whichever case it is applicable. BC also we have done. Now, if we analyze this data also, look at it, what we are writing. How much you are spending? 45%. You are spending 45% on raw material. 45% of what? 45% of total revenue you are earning, you are spending on raw material. 21% you are spending on labor. 24% you are spending on various heads, makes up to 90%, and 10% is the overall profit. So we have taken just third stage of analysis, wherein we have calculated of total money that we are spending, that is 9,000. How much is it going? Earlier it was on product wise analysis. Now across total products, how much is being spent on various heads? Raw material, labor, you can have hundreds of heads, but in order to make the calculation simple, we have classified them into 3 only. Now what more do you get if you have got this information also? What more comments can you make?
So we can properly ascertain about which heads of expenses do we need to reduce.
Okay.
Cost हमें reduce करना चाहिए in order to increase the profitability.
Okay. Okay. Next, someone else. Yes, someone else. Any other comment? Any other observation?
Raw material having most high expenses.
Raw material is the one on which you are spending the highest. Hold on here for some time. Any other comment on this comment? There we are spending highest percentage, highest amount on raw material. Is this comment fine?
Sir,
or something else is to be added to this?
No, sir, as it is visible that we have to spend the largest amount on the raw material because it will become the part of final goods we are producing.
Okay. Anything else?
But if a product, see, the amount that we're spending on raw material and on labor and on overheads is the same. So
Okay. 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 No, I was thinking if you can confine your discussion on the comment that somebody made. Otherwise, the comments will be haywire. We'll be discussing. Of course, they are relevant, but not in an order. See, concluding that we are spending huge money on raw material will be good conclusion only if we know the industry average, or we also know what our competitors are spending.
So what other competitors are spending, we should also figure out. Also, we cannot rely that we are spending so much on raw material, but we should focus what is the lacking that we are not able to produce good.
No,
So we should-
no. I'll tell you why. Number one, we should know what is the industry average. Every industry has some standard percentage of various expenses that it incurs. There are industries wherein the maximum spending on 70% of the money is spent on raw material. Which are, let us say, highly, there are companies which are highly labor intensive. So much money will be spent on labor. Companies which are highly capital intensive. So not much will be spent on labor and raw material. They will spend much on fixed expenses. So depending on the nature of industry, there will be, percentage of money is spent on various heads. For example, in a bank, what money will be spent on raw material? Nothing. All will it spend only on labor and on overheads like building, rent, etc., etc. In a consulting organization, in a medical setup, huge money on the equipments, also on medicines, also on the salaries and the consulting fees, etc., etc. So depending on the industry, then only we can say that this firm, suppose the industry average is 30%, then we can say when the industry average is 30%, this company is wasting money. Why is it? It should spend its 45% of total revenue on advertisement. Alternatively, competitors are spending 30 and 32%, somewhere between 30 and 35%. So why should we spend 45%? And vice versa. Same will be true for labor, same will be true for overheads. Then, when we have decided about the total, what will be the second step? This is the third stage of analysis. Within this, you can have third and fourth stage also. Why third and fourth stage? You calculate one more percentage of 5 lakh that it is earning. Just 1 second. Let me just reduce this size and I'll be able to explain you here. It is 40%. Is it fine? It is spending 2,000 rupees on raw material, which is 40% of its total sales. This you can say as roughly 11%. Not 11%, maybe 12%, exactly 12%. It is spending 12% of its revenue on labor in case of product A, and it is spending 8% of its total revenue on overheads. If we work out this as a percentage for all, we will come to know, number one, we have already decided or we have already reached a conclusion whether it is spending correct or not. Then in the next, let us say, fourth stage of analysis, we can say that when it comes to product A, out of the total revenues received, 40% are being spent on raw material, 12% on labor, 8% on overhead, and rest is your profit. Does it make some sense what figures I have written now? Similarly,
so can you please repeat it?
Okay, let it just concentrate on this column only. How much sales revenue is this company realizing? For this
5,000.
5,000. Of 5,000, 2,000 it is spending on raw material. So how much is it spending?
40%.
30%.
600 it is spending on labor. How much is it spending?
12%.
12%. 400 it is spending on overhead.
So 8%.
8%. Now, if we concentrate only on this column A, this particular column, and then see, okay, this is our product, this is our car, this is our course, this is our, head, anything that you assume. And what is the industry's average for this product or this service? And how much are we spending? This 45% was overall industry, this particular firm or a product. Then only we can see that others are spending 35. Why are we spending 40? Others are spending 20. Why are we spending 40? Others are spending 70. Why is it that we are spending only 40? And same is true about labor, and same is true about overheads. Like this, we can have calculation for B and C also. It will give us much better insight. If you come here, C, it will be, just one second. If you see, come here, it is easy to calculate. 33.33 here, 33.33 here, and 33.33% here. So if we see that this is what we are spending, what is the industry average when it comes to this part, what it is, how much others are?
Sir, but 1,000 could be the 50%.
Sorry. It could be just divided total cost that it is incurring. 33% is on raw material, 33% on labor, 33% on overhead. Alternatively, rather a better way out having the same thing is that it is spending. If we say 50% here, 50% here, what will you write here? Of sales revenue, 50% on raw material, 50% on labor. What percentage on overhead? So of total cost, 33 on this, 33 on this, 33 on this. Then we may see what is the industry and what the competitors are doing. So idea of explaining you the fourth stage analysis was, then once you look at the overall, then within, so this gives you much better insight compared to previous 2-3 slides. If we see,
sir, I had a question regarding firm C.
Firm C, yes.
Sir, can't we write that the total cost of the firm C is 150% of sales?
We can write.
Can't we say like that?
Yes. See,
sir,
you can write total cost is 150%, 150% of revenue. Why not? Here you can say total cost is 40% of the revenue. Total cost is 100% of the revenue. Total cost is 150% of the revenue. Correct?
This.
Anyway, it can be interpreted. You are right here. Percent profit is 66%. So he mathematically can calculate anything, can interpret anything, but again that should be relevant. That should be relevant. So your fourth stage of analysis has provided you a lot of insight. So when we go on and on and on, we will find that as we move along from third to fourth, fourth to fifth, we get more and more data, and more data gives us more thoughts, more way in which it can be controlled. And when you have data, then only you decide what were the reasons for this. Prior to this, for example, if you look at here, this one, unless you were satisfied at this stage, 10% is okay, no problem. But when you came to this stage, only then you come to know there are some issues with this firm, there are problems. Now, if you know we are spending 100% of it on sales on our total cost, unless you know what were the reasons, so you will come to know the reasons only once you know the data. Now you will dig out the reasons. Why is it that we are spending this much? And thereafter only corrective measures can be taken. Just to give you an example, more of it we will discuss in standard costing. Just to give you an example, suppose here you are spending, in this case, 33% of your total cost goes towards raw material. we may realize if others are spending 20%, then only we can decide as to why are you spending more. Maybe you will dig out the reasons. One of the reasons could be that you are not planning properly. You are buying at a very, very short notice. It could be one reason. Another reason could be that you are buying a smaller quantity, so you are not getting quantity discount. Third reason could be you are not paying in time, so you are not availing cash discount. Likewise, you can think of a dozen reasons. And once you think of those reasons, then only you can take the corrective measures. In this case also, like I said before, figures speak. You will try to see relationship between labor and raw material and overhead, which is increasing, which is decreasing, what is the trend, what happens when one increases, the other decreases, what could be. You have to read between the lines. The data will speak to you if you have understood its language. So with this, I think this part, is said. Here you can change it to third and fourth stage. Although there should have been a separate slide, but here itself you can say what is it fourth stage. Fourth stage is this. Maybe in the ultimate I can split it into two. If you have questions here, please ask. Okay, if there are no questions, I'll give you I'll leave the class now. You have some time, you try to write it down, and maybe after 12 or so, I'll create the assignment for submission of this report. We will have one more report, and there'll be about another 15-20 marks, which I can test through some MCQs or through some ways or the other, so that it makes up to 50. And thereafter, for 20 marks, for remaining 20 marks, because we have to complete into up to 70, for 20 marks, there'll be a YOC examination. Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
For that YOC examination, I give you an offer. The offer is, if you don't appear in the YOC examination, then the marks you have obtained out of 50 will be proportionately raised. All right? And in case you appear in the YOC examination, you stand a chance of scoring perfect 20 or 0. Because I plan to give you 4 questions of 5 marks each. 4 questions of 5 marks each. If you answer all correctly, you will get 20. If you answer all wrong, you will get 0. Is the offer clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tentatively, it is not final that I am asking you, it is only tentative. Based on this offer, how many are you willing to take Viva? Just write your roll number and say yes. Why?
Sir,
roll
ऑफर
number
खत्म
and why.
कर दीजिए सर.
जी
ऑफर से खत्म कर दीजिए सर.
भाई आप नो लिख दीजिए तो आपके लिए खत्म हो गया ऑफर. भाई अगर आपने नो लिख दिया तो आपके लिए खत्म हो गया. I just to make some assessment of your personality on the basis of your answer. नहीं, मैंडेटरी किसी के लिए भी कुछ नहीं. मैंडेटरी क्या है भाई, आप क्लास ही करने ना आए तो क्या हो गया, खत्म बात. गुड गुड, वेरी गुड. All right. So,
Sir, this VIVA will be conducted as part of examination, the final examination.
No. Final examination will be different. Final examination तो अभी डिपार्टमेंट से कुछ आए नहीं, क्या करना उसका. It's a part of your internal assessment.
Okay, sir.
ठीक, बहुत सही. आप सब लोगों ने वाई लिख दिया, तो that means you are all prepared to take risk. Suppose आपके इन 50 में से 30 हैं, तो out of 70 कितने हो जाएंगे?
तो 50 हो जाएंगे. अगर 20 आते तो 50 हो जाएंगे 70 में से.
उसका जोड़िए ना 50 का. 60% मीन्स 12 और बढ़ जाएंगे. 42. तो आपका चांस है of getting maximum 42 और getting maximum 30. 30 भी तो हो सकते हैं ना, 42 भी हो सकते हैं.
यस सर.
चलिए, बहुत अच्छी बात है.
सर ऑफर नहीं लेंगे तो बढ़ेंगे ही बढ़ेंगे ना मार्क्स तो सर।
जी
सर अगर वाइवा वोसी ना दें तो सर मार्क्स तो सर प्रोपोर्शनेटली बढ़ेंगे ना।
हाँ बढ़ेंगे, और वाइवा नहीं देंगे और वाइवा देंगे तो प्रोपोर्शनेटली नहीं, आपके 20 भी बढ़ सकते हैं, आपके 0 भी बढ़ सकते हैं।
सर ना देने में श्योरिटी है ना सर?
जी
सर नहीं देने में श्योरिटी है फिर तो?
नहीं, ये तो आपकी मर्जी है, आप नहीं शॉर्ट नहीं आप देंगे तो आपके जितने हैं उसी के तो प्रोपोर्शनेट बढ़ेंगे। मैंने एग्जांपल दिया 30, अगर आपके करंटली 30 हैं तो व्हाट मैक्सिमम कैन यू स्कोर इफ यू डोंट अपीयर इन द वाइवा? 12. So your minimum score will be 32 and maximum 42. And if you appear in the viva, your score minimum could be 30 and maximum could be 50.
सर 20 और 0 के बीच में कुछ है ही नहीं?
नहीं हो सकता, क्यों नहीं, मैंने कहा या तो आपका 0 से लेकर 20 तक इट इज a range.
अच्छा ओके सर, मुझे लगा आप या तो 20 देंगे या 0 देंगे।
नहीं, ऐसा कैसे हो जाएगा? If I give you 4 questions to answer and you answer all correctly, so how much will you get? 20?
So 20.
And if you don't answer anyone correctly?
0.
So that is a range.
Sir, when that viva was can be conducted approximately, can you give an idea?
Okay, fine. Maybe around in the last week of March.
Okay, sir.
That will be perfect.
Somewhere between 26th onward, from 26th onward. इस बीच में चूंकि छुट्टियां बहुत हैं, 4 दिन की तो लगातार छुट्टी, वैसे होली, दिवाली, बकरीद क्या क्या की छुट्टी है, उसकी शब कदर की छुट्टी है, वो 3 दिन मैं नहीं हूँ तो मैंने वो तो मैंने कंपनसेट कर दिया 2 क्लासेस कल लेकर के, परसों 2 आज लेकर के। अगर कल क्लासेस हो जाती तो हमारा जो वीक में आने वाले वीक की एब्सेंट है जिसमें मैं छुट्टी पर रहूंगा, दैट वुड हैव बीन कंपनसेटेड, बट समहाउ नहीं हो पाया तो कुछ नहीं, कल तो प्रवेश साहब लेंगे दोनों क्लासेस, आई विल हैव ऑन फ्राइडे एंड सैटरडे, तो एटलीस्ट आउट ऑफ 3 लॉसेस दैट आई विल बी देयर, ये आपकी कंपनसेट हो चुकी होंगी
जी।
तो आई डोंट नीड मोर देन मैक्सिमम 7-8 क्लासेस सो फार, इससे ज़्यादा की ज़रूरत नहीं है। तो होपफुली आफ्टर इन द लास्ट वीक ऑफ अप्रैल मार्च वी विल बी इन ए पोजीशन टू कंडक्ट योर वाइवा।
ओके सर।
और उसको फाइनल हो जाएगा देन वी विल गो टू, आप इसको सोचने के बाद कल जब क्लास, कल तो नहीं होगी, परसों, अगर आप चाहते हैं रिवाइज करना तो रिवाइज कर दीजिए, और आप फिर भी चेंज करना चाहते हैं तो चेंज कर दीजिए, ये कोई ऐसा कंपलसरी नहीं, ये तो मैं आपका
सर क्वेश्चंस तो वही होंगे जो क्लास में आपने बीच बीच में पूछे बताए चीजें हैं उसी के अकॉर्डिंग।
ये तो मैं नहीं कह सकता, लेकिन कोई चीज ऐसे नहीं होगी जो मैंने नहीं बताई आपको।
जी सर।
और अगर आपने क्लास नहीं की तो जाहिर सी बात आपने सुना नहीं होगा।
जी सर।
और डिस्कस नहीं किया होगा तो उसमें आपको दिक्कत हो सकती।
जी
ठीक है, देन आई विल बी लीविंग नाउ, यू मे ट्राई टू कंप्लीट योर फाइल एज सून एज पॉसिबल, यू हैव एटलीस्ट 15-20 मिनट्स नाउ।
सर टुडे इज डे 35।
अच्छा, आज 35 है तो चलिए मैं आज 35 तक का ही कंप्लीट कर लीजिए, कोई मुश्किल नहीं है, इसमें कोई दिक्कत थोड़ी है।
सर किस टाइम तक सबमिट करनी है रिपोर्ट?
मैं अपलोड कर दूंगा, देखिए किस वक्त करेंगे, कर देंगे मेरे ख्याल से शाम वाम तक कर दीजिएगा।
यस सर।
कोई बात नहीं।
सर ये जो आपने पिछली स्लाइड जो बताई थी उसको हम लोगों को पोस्ट करना है, बिकॉज आपने बोला कि उसमें से अपने कमेंट्स लिखने हैं, व्हाट यू थिंक?
मैं बता दूंगा, अपनी फाइल में नोट कर लीजिए अपनी, आप
ओके सर,
अपनी फाइल में नोट कर लीजिए, ठीक है ना, अपनी फाइल में नोट कर लीजिए एंड यू कैन लीव द मीटिंग नाउ।
थैंक यू सर।
थैंक यू सर।
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.